Hi everyone, I am going to demonstrate my learning management system, which I just started using in December when our technology department hosted a workshop. And it is Smart Learning Suites from Smart Technologies. And if you have a smart board in your classroom, you're probably familiar with Smart Technologies. But with the Smart Learning Suites online, you can make your activities very engaging. You can have formative assessments, you can have student collaboration, and you can use any resources, past lessons, curriculum that your school provides. You can put them into your Smart Learning Suites lessons very easily, and you can create handouts, you can create polls, again, quizzes, and anything can be adapted to make the activity interactive. And so I'll just talk a little bit more about that as I go through um, my example. So each day I do a read aloud with my students, and what I like to do is my students love read alouds. I teach fifth grade language arts, and I have two language arts classes that I teach. I teach one in the morning and then one in the afternoon. And we are in the process right now of reading Diary of a Sixth Grade Ninja. And what I like to do with my reading responses is I like to hit the fifth grade standards, the fifth grade reading language arts standards with my read alouds. It's just quick, it's easy, it's reinforcement, and again, they love it. And I'll show you what I do with the Smart Suites and my reading response. So we use Microsoft products in Calvert County. Therefore, when I do my virtual instruction, I utilize Microsoft Teams, and I can just easily, when I connect to Teams, I can show my Smart Suites lesson by sharing my screen. And again, it's just the access, because we're a Microsoft school, it makes everything very compatible and very easy. So normally what will happen is I will ask my students to log into their Smart Suites account. And once they've logged in once, they don't have to log in again. They put my teacher ID in for the first time, and then it saves everything, and then they just automatically connect. So on a normal day, when we're doing a Smart Suites lesson, I'll see here what students are logging into Smart Suites. It'll give me a list of my student names. So of course, right now I don't have any students logged in, but on a normal day, I would start to see names fill in. And then I go back and I look to see who is in the meeting and who has not logged into Smart Suites, and then I can call them out by name and find out what's going on. Now, I can also share my screen with students, as I had mentioned before. So students that are having, issues with a laggy computer or their internet's not working, they can see the materials just through me sharing my screen. Students who are actually logged into Smart Suites, they are able to participate in the interactive activities. And again, on a good day, everybody's logged in. Everyone is able to access the materials. And if they can't, then I can put it in student mode and they can go back when their computers are working correctly. So on this particular day, we were reading a chapter in Diary of a Sixth Grade Ninja, and this is the cover of the book, but we were already involved in several chapters. So we've, read like half the book. So I'm just going to go through quickly and show you what my lesson looked like. So I have the directions, which as you can see, I just wanted them to answer the question on the next slide based on what they had read yesterday or what they heard me read yesterday. So again, I do it as a read aloud, but I also have a picture of the book that I use, or the parts of the book that I use. Sometimes I don't use the whole book. Sometimes my read alouds just consist of, portions of a story that obviously connect to the standards. So I don't violate any copyright rules. So they were supposed to answer a question on the next slide based on what they had read yesterday or what they heard yesterday. And then they were going to listen to or read along to today's part of the story. And again, I'd like to put a picture of what they're reading. So the kids that want to read it themselves can read it themselves. Kids that need it read to them, I also have an audio version of it, which this is the audio version here, where if I press on this button, it will read it for them. And it's my voice. And then they were supposed to answer the purpose for listening question based on what they hear today. So the first thing I do is, or the first thing was for them to answer a question based on what they had heard yesterday. So when I am in, which just to show you another thing. So if I'm doing a guided lesson, I can put it in teacher mode, and that means I control the screen that they see. If I put it into student mode, that means they can work at their own pace, and they have access to it no matter what, whether it's in teacher mode or whether it's in student mode. The only thing about teacher mode is that for specific things, for specific interactive activities, if it's a collaboration activity, I have to start the collaboration. But if it's a handout activity, they can work on it at their own pace. So I'm in teacher mode right now. And so when I click on this first activity, so what was done, this was basically what I asked them to do. And I click on teacher handout. So I basically just say, pretend your friend was absent yesterday. How would you answer the question so they could understand what happened in the story? Use examples from the text to help make your answer more clear. And so here's the question that they have to answer. And so what I'll see, so this is what they're seeing, but then if I want to see student progress, I can look here and I can view the students who have started the answer or who have finished the answer. So this student, she did not have a check by her name, which means that she wasn't finished with her response, which means that I know to go back to her and I need to ask the student, you know, why she didn't finish her response. When you see a check by students' names, that means that they've finished their response and they've hit submit. And so then I know that they've considered it finished. These students that don't have a check, that means that they may not have finished for one reason or another, and I have to go back and check with them to see what the problem was. So again, I can click on a student and I can move through the students pretty easily. I can also I can click the editor button and I am able to make comments to the students. And where is it? Or I can write on the page. I don't know why my pen isn't working right now. Oh, I know why, because I have to press the A. So if I press the A, then I can do a box and then I can make comments. So that's what I really like about that. And then they go in and they see my comments. And this is all in real time. Like if she were logged in, if the student were logged in right now, she would be able to see exactly what I'm typing to her. And then I can move through students pretty quickly by just using these arrow buttons. And again, I can make comments. And if the students are online with me, many times, you know, I'll just talk to them online, or if they're sitting in front of me, you know, and I can just say to them, I usually type it and mention it to them in case they have to go back. And so I proceed through the slides. Just, again, I'm in teacher mode, so they can't go ahead of me. If they're in student mode, they can work at their own pace. And of course, after I do the guided lesson, or if I do a guided lesson and a student was absent, I can send it to them. I can send them a link and then they can complete it on their own. So here, as I'm going through the slides, so again, you'll notice that I have this. This is the chapter, and I have the actual writing, and I also have done a voiceover where I'm reading it out loud. Again, some kids like to hear me read it, some kids need to hear me read it, others want to read it on their own. So after we go through, or after the kids go through and listen to it, or they read it themselves, then we get to another student progress, we get to a handout. So I can make any part, I can make any slide a handout. Like for instance, I'll go back and show you here. So here I have, if I go back and edit, I can make this a student handout, and I can say highlight tier 2 vocabulary words that you thought were interesting. I can ask them to, if we're talking about character traits, go and highlight text evidence that shows evidence of this character being depressed or this character being excited. And so I can, again, go in and make that interactive. And I can do it on the fly. Like if I decide that, oh, I think I want to have them mark on a page, I can go and edit it within a second and be able to make, like I say, make the slide interactive. So here's where after they listen to the story or they read it themselves, then they go in and my question is, what is Wyatt's plan for getting revenge on Zoe? And again, this was part of the story. And so I can go back, like I mentioned before, and I can see the kids that have the check marks, they were finished or they considered themselves finished. And I can go in and I can read their responses. And again, I can actually see when they're typing their responses. So, I can call them out sometimes and say, hey, it's been 5 minutes. Why haven't you even started this? Which makes it nice. And again, I can add my details. I can, I like to do like just kind of silly things and just to acknowledge that I've looked at their answer and, those types of things. So then this is an example of a collaboration page. So with this, what happens is I start the activity. So again, if this were a normal day and you had students who were logged in, they're supposed to answer this question: what will happen in the next chapter? Make a prediction about what will happen in the next chapter. And then again, I probably should go back and edit that, but anyway, so kids, I've set it so that kids can make up to 3 responses or put in 3 responses. They can respond to each other. So I usually tell them to make a prediction, but then respond to one of your classmates' predictions, tell if you agree with it, why or why not. And that is a collaboration page. Now, just to show you some other aspects. So if I'm finished with the lesson, I can end the lesson and I can return home. And that all their work is saved, which is why I need to keep copies, a morning version and an afternoon version, or I have like my struggling learner version, which of course I don't call it that, or my enrichment version that I give to kids. So if I'm working with small groups, I can pull out that particular lesson and it has saved their work, and they can actually pull up the link and they can also access it as well. So I just wanted to show you some of the games. This is a cool one that we did on figurative language, and Smart Learning Suites has resources that you can already made resources that you can use, and you can even edit those resources to make them make what you need for your particular students. So in this one, we have similes versus metaphors. And so I don't know if you'll be able to hear, but the sound is great. And the graphics, as you can see, are amazing. So in this particular case, they had to sort for similes and metaphors. Okay. So the ocean was a raging bull. So they would take it and they would put it in the ship. Last night I slept like a log. And I like to give them games, especially if I'm giving student control, if I'm doing the student version of it. Because again, they can play it as many times as they want to, and they can play it at their own pace. Sometimes I do make teams and we do it as a class activity, which is pretty cool. This one, again, I'll let you hear some of the audio. So with this, we take one of the guitar picks. Becky was as busy as a bee, and they were to choose. Which ones, or which figurative language it was. And so if I get it wrong, then it'll tell me. See, the car was faster than the speed of light. Okay, let's see. So you can see I got that one correct, and I don't know, I didn't look at the others, I was just kind of winging it there. So I do know my figurative language. All right, so basically that's the gist. That's the gist of the games. Oops. And then this one had task cards with it, and so they were to, it's got music to it, so they could create a metaphor for something. I might tell them to choose 3 cards and then complete the activity. And again, I can edit these. I did edit some of these just to make them accessible for my struggling learners or for my kids that needed enrichment. There's videos you can incorporate. So you can add a video.
My bag weighs a ton. I had to wait in the station for 10 days.
And again, here's another activity with hyperboles. And then they can do, this is an interactive response. And so in order for them to start this, they would obviously have to go into their Hello Smart and log in. And again, if it's the first time they're using it, they have to put my teacher code in, but then it saves it for them. So that's basically, and then I get live results. There's a game show version, which is very cool. And again, the graphics and the sound are really cool. Keeps them really engaged. So that is my demonstration of my learning management system. Again, I can have lots of interaction, student to student, student to teacher. Their parents can log in with the link that I provide so they can see their work, and it really fits well to do as direct instruction or to set up in when I do a flipped classroom. And this is the student practice time, and I can send students off to work on their Smart Suites in student mode. And again, when I'm working with a guided lesson, I can put it in teacher mode so students cannot go faster than me or can't click ahead. So it's been really great and I really enjoy it, and I encourage you to most definitely check it out. And it is compatible with Google and other things. I don't know all the ins and outs of everything. I'm still learning, but there's a lot of online support, a lot of videos, and I'm very happy with it. So thanks.